Welcome to Echoes of Enlightenment, where we talk about spirituality, life lessons, and overall self-development. Today's episode, we'll be talking about embracing love again. I wanted to talk about different relationships that we have throughout life involving our friends and romantic relationships. And as we all know, some of those relationships, they'll come to an end, whether it's a friendship or, somebody that you're dating. And then after those relationships, we begin to build up all these things that we're not going to tolerate in a future relationship. And over time, through friendships, through relationships, each time we add a brick to the wall that we're building. And we don't realize it's a wall that we're building. We're just thinking it's things that we just won't tolerate. And all we're doing at that time is building a wall that's separating the new person from getting close to you, so you won't be able to be hurt anymore. But one thing that we forget is by you building that wall that's separating somebody from you, you're also separating yourself from them. And we're here on Earth to experience everything that Earth has to offer. And that's also our emotions. Love is an emotion. It's one of the strongest one. And authenticity is right up there with love. They're hand in hand. Being authentic is the way you can reach love the easiest, the most effectively, is being who you are. But if you're building a wall in between you and another person, you're getting further and further away from your authentic self. Because each brick that you add to that wall is getting further and further away from love. And some people tend to distance themselves away from relationships after like a bad breakup, or even something happens in a friendship and that ends. And then you're like, I don't want any more friends because I can't trust any of them. And it's almost the same thing in a relationship. It's people that you love, whether it's a friend, you love them. And if you're in a relationship, you love them. It's the same emotion that's attached to whether it's a friendship or a relationship. So some people will be like, I won't do this. And they wait like 10 years. They wait 10 years to want to be friends, to find a new best friend or find love again. But what has happened in that 10-year span is that you slowly healed. And that's why you gravitated back to wanting to entertain a relationship again. And the reason why you're gravitating towards a relationship is because we're here to love. Love is one of the strongest things out there. When people come together, that's something special. Whether it's friends, finding a good friend that you really love hanging out with, that's a high vibrational energy. And so is a great relationship. When you love somebody, you're happy, you're excited, you're joyful. Those are all positive, high vibrational emotions. And that's where we originate from. We start off with love, and then we have all these different experiences that make us start building a wall in between people. So I just want to talk about what we could do after a breakup, whether it's a friend or a relationship, is to not think it's the end of the world. Just think it's part of a growing experience. Sometimes you run into people to help you learn more stuff about yourself, what boundaries, you could have. When I say boundaries, don't think of a boundary as a wall. Think of it as a tool for you to use to make yourself better. So after like the relationship, after the breakup, take some time and review the relationship and review it honestly and balanced. Because relationship, we're talking about relationship. It's two people, and we all know that nobody's perfect. So if you can think back, just review the relationship and see the things, look at yourself first. Like, how did I do? Evaluate the relationship. How did I do in this situation? How did I do in this relationship? What could I have done better? What could I have done to maybe make this relationship run a little smoother? Just because we know every action has a reaction. So it could have been some things that we've done to make somebody act a different way towards us, and then we criticize the way they acted towards us, but then we ignore what we did to maybe have gotten that reaction from them. Then we judge them, and then now they're the bad person, but we ignored what we did to them to make them act like that. So if we review ourselves, our part in the relationship, and see what we can fix, we got to be honest with ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with not being perfect. You got to first start off not knowing that we're not perfect. So when you find something wrong, it shouldn't be a hit to the ego because you already knew that you weren't perfect. And look at it as a learning experience. We're all trying to get better each and every day. And after you review yourself, review the person that you dated, that you're in a relationship with. Review their actions and see some of the stuff that they did and how it made you feel. Or see if some of the stuff that they were doing you thought was inappropriate. And just look at it and learn from all that. And once you learn from your problems, from what you brought into the relationship and what the other person brought into the relationship that didn't work, use that to empower yourself. Alchemize it. It was a negative experience, but what could you do to help it make you stronger in your next relationship? And once you do that method right there, that exercise, that'll help you to get over the hurt and get over the pain. And if you were involved, and you had your heart in it, yes, it's still gonna hurt, but at least you got something out of it. At least you understood where you went wrong, where the other person went wrong. And you will have a good understanding. And once you understand something, then you have a grasp on it. You're not in that confused state of, what did I do? I thought this was this. The reason why people are so confused most of the time is because they never evaluate the relationship from a balanced standpoint where both people had faults in it. If you think you're the perfect one, then you'll never figure it out. And you always thought it was somebody else. You're never going to figure out what the problem was because you were part of the problem. You're leaving out a big piece of the puzzle. It's not going to feel complete if you're picking and choosing your own story. So just alchemize that past situation. Look at that as a learning experience. See how you can be better, and also look at some of the things that you might not want in another person that you actually didn't like in that person. And chances are, when you look at yourself and some of the stuff that we were putting out into the relationship towards the other person, you might realize that some of the things that they were doing wasn't as bad as you thought. Because you might be like, well, dang, I think I would act that way if somebody was doing what I was doing to them. It would, you just got to flip it. Because sometimes it seems like somebody is not a great partner by what you see them doing, but you're not looking at what you could be doing to make them act like that. Not make them act like that, but respond to different things that way. And a lot of the times when people respond to us negatively, it's because we're testing the person to see how they are. And then when you get the reaction from the test, then you get mad. But if you wouldn't even tested the person and actually just acted from your authentic version of yourself, you might not even got that reaction from the other person. You might have brought out their authenticity with yours. But instead, you you put out a test and then they give you a test answer and you don't like that answer. So after you evaluate the relationship from both ends, yourself and the other person, then just take a little time just to really let that energy from the past relationship just flow out of you. Work on yourself for a minute. Doesn't have to be that long. Just don't jump into something back to back because you're still carrying the previous energy without even figuring out anything. So you're going to get, chances are, with that energy, that vibration you're giving off, you're just going to attract somebody on that level. And it's not even who you are. So what we want to do is reset. We want to recalibrate. And then when you go meet a new friend or start dating again, go into it with both feet. But this time, just use the tools that you learned from yourself, the things that you could do better from the past relationship that you realized you were doing. And for the other person, just use your discernment. You can let people know what your boundaries are. You can kind of, people can kind of gauge each other. And if you see somebody crossing over your boundaries, that's you using your discernment to either let the person know, hey, I really don't like how, this is, whatever the situation is. Or just save yourself some time and end it in the date. But don't add another brick to that wall because you don't want to lock your own self out. You don't want to block your own self out. And along with new people that have nothing to do with any of your past stuff. So I'm in this right here. Until next time.